I can't wait till you come out. Yeah, I can, but you know what I'm saying. I love it when you move around. I know you're in there, and it makes me feel connected to you. You gonna move around just a little bit more for Daddy, huh? Just a little bit more, baby. Just a little bit more.
She gave you a lot today.
She did.
I mean, a lot today. She gave you a lot today.
No, I'm saying I felt her.
Hey fam, welcome to the Cole Life. We are in a very interesting season right now where baby Cole is so close. Once 2020 came, it was January, April. I don't know any months in between that. So we've been actually reflecting a lot about parenthood and what that looks like. Before we get into the main topic, if you haven't, like, comment, subscribe, get to know us. We have so many new subscribers. Thank you all for joining, and let's get into it.
Today we wanted to take some time to talk about the concept of fatherhood. Obviously this means a lot to me personally as I'm preparing to be a father, but I think in general sometimes the role of the father is either absent in people's lives, or it's downplayed or not seen as important, or there's something missing, there's a gap even in the mentality of men as they are becoming fathers, or even as husbands. I think the standard for what they should be doing to support their wives or support their family emotionally, spiritually is a low standard in my humble opinion.
And I also think when it comes to even our society, we live in the US right now, and what we still have these gender roles of, fathers don't really need to be involved. I mean, you think about the paternity leave, we still don't really have a paternity leave in every job right now.
So this video is really geared towards men, but also towards women, to know what standard to have and what standard to look for and how to pull that out of a man in your relationship. I was having conversations with people about preparing for fatherhood. I'm getting ready and I'm preparing certain things which we'll talk about in this video, but there was a certain interaction actually just happened this week. It was very interesting to me. I was talking to a coworker about getting ready for fatherhood, and I was explaining that something that I want to do to support my wife in the process of having a child is when she gets up, we're going to breastfeed. So when she gets up at night to feed the baby every 2 to 3 hours, I'm actually going to get up with her. I want her to feel supported by me, and just that I'm there. We're in this together. We're a unit. So I was explaining this to them, and the response I got was, bro, I mean, you're way above average. I mean, I feel like the fact they're even thinking or even offered to do that is way above the average. So you're fine, man. Honestly, you shouldn't even have to do all that. It's really not a big deal. This thought process that I hear so many men have is that, hey, anything above average is good enough.
I don't expect that. I mean, I have no idea what to expect from you with that, but I know the fact that you are willing to do that is something that I appreciate. But I just wonder, what is the average of men when it comes to
what does that look like?
What does that look like?
Man, that's on her. I mean, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna sleep.
Right.
I get it easy, right? Or I have to go to work, so I need my sleep.
That's my responsibility, is the work part.
Right. My responsibility is to work. You take care of the kids. There's this gender role based conversation.
Yeah.
And it is my purpose and mission to combat that ideology. We as men should be striving to be the very best that we can be, just the same as any woman would or any person would, honestly. And I don't know how it happened in society, the standard came down, but I feel that this is a call to raise that standard.
Even in pregnancy, I feel like there's a stigma of, well, you're just pregnant, I don't need to really be involved in you being pregnant. Like, you figure out what you want to do and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do. And that's just not the way that we live. And I can tell that we had to, first of all, this is all very unknown. Pregnancy was unknown for us, and now parenting is unknown for us. So we had to learn what kind of roles are we going to even play throughout pregnancy. You know, the first trimester, you know, is like one of the hardest, I guess. But in Brian's mind, he didn't really understand what that meant. We had to travel, and then we came back from traveling, and I think the next day we were moving.
Yeah. We were.
I was moving real slow, y'all. I was moving real slow.
And I was hustling. Like, I'm running boxes up and down from the moving truck.
Yeah.
I'm sweating. I'm working my butt off.
And we actually got into a little argument because Brian was like, I just feel like you're not doing anything. Like,
You're not helping.
you're not helping. And that was when the first trimester actually hit me. And I fell asleep. Brian was working, and I literally had to fall asleep. And I didn't even realize I fell asleep. And I was moving so slow. I felt like I was a turtle. Like, I couldn't even believe how slow I was walking. But I was telling Brian, I don't feel good. And he was like, babe, we gotta go. And I'm like, I really don't feel good.
So I had no understanding that, like, even that quickly,
Yeah.
she could feel nauseous and like exhausted beyond belief. Like, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So it was like a complete ignorance to what this whole pregnancy process was, and it kind of woke both of us up, honestly,
Yeah.
because it woke me up to like, well, I need to figure out what this whole process is gonna look like, because I can't be upset at Lexi for being exhausted if that's what's happening and her body is making her exhausted.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me being upset at her being sluggish or
Yeah.
not helping out. If I knew that, I would have reacted very differently, but I didn't. So that kind of put the light bulb on that I need to get educated. I began to put a lot of effort into how can I support her through this. I need to know the stages that she's going to go through, what's happening to her body, what's happening to her emotions, and I can understand what my role would then look like to support and be there for her.
Yeah. Brian was reading more than I was. Brian was telling me, instead of me doing something or doing work, he was telling me to do nothing. I think Brian
went the opposite
It went the
direction.
complete opposite direction. Once Brian found out what was happening with my body, he was just like, I already think Brian is Superman, but Brian was legit Superman. He was like, I will do the dishes. I will do everything. I just want you to rest. You are like just going in.
Yeah.
But that's what I love, is that I felt like we were a team. I feel like we are a team.
I think our generation, the millennials, are starting to get out of this philosophy or way of thinking that the gender role concept, that the man is supposed to work at his job and then come home, kick his feet up, and the family just runs from the woman, right? I think that philosophy is starting to fade away, but it is my belief that gender roles go out the window. Like, I don't believe in gender roles. That's possibly a topic for another video, but I refuse to sit by and watch my pregnant wife, or watch my wife who is taking care of our kids, and make her think that she has to do all the dishes herself, that she has to do all the laundry, she has to clean the house, she has to do this, after being exhausted and not having any sleep, feeding our child every 2 to 3 hours. Like, that's irresponsible in my opinion. So during this season, I'm stepping up and doing more of those things. I'm taking that burden off of her. I'm doing the laundry, I'm doing the dishes when I can, I'm doing everything when I can, as I can.
I just want to reiterate something, that Brian works a full-time job, and not only does he work a full-time job, we also have a business on the side. We also do YouTube, and with all of that, Brian still finds a way. Not gonna cry, but you still find a way to help me and make sure that I'm okay. And I'm not saying I just sit around and do nothing. Like, I do put in work, but I feel like Brian really tries to not make me do work during this time. So I appreciate that. And the reason why we really did this video was so we can show how to be a team and how to work at it. And we're not always perfect. We are still learning through this process, but we are being we're just being a support to each other.
I find a lot of inner energy and strength to do these things when I know that she's willing to do them. When it's not a requirement, right? She's not saying, Brian, you need to do all this because I'm pregnant.
Right.
That's a very different atmosphere or vibe than her saying, Brian, I'm willing to do it, and me saying, no, I got you.
Yeah.
That gives me energy and strength to become Superman, to do everything that I have to do or want to do for her. I'm so excited to be a father. And so I want to be involved in every step. I go on every doctor's appointment. I think I've only missed one, maybe two, because I was out of town. But we try to schedule it so that I am in town.
Or
so
you
that I can
always
go,
make sure that somebody's with me.
or someone's with her.
And you were like that during IVF too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, when I look at the growth of the baby, I want to be educated on what's happening with the baby. I'm watching YouTube videos and reading books like crazy about how to take care of a newborn. I've never done this before. I don't know. Like, you watched our baby registry video. I don't have a clue what's happening right now. I'm so confused. So I have to get educated. One of my words this year is sacrifice, because I think God is pulling out a higher level of sacrifice in my life, being now a father and now taking care of a family, not just a wife.
And it's so interesting because, I always think of words for the new year. 2019, my word was grit. He stole that from me, of thinking of words for the new year, every new year.
I did.
And so I had 2 words this year, and that was servanthood and surrender. So that, it just shows you how much we are thinking about each other, because I just found out his word today.
One of the pastors in our church, he sat me down one time and was talking about the role of the husband and the father. And he was telling me that it's really their role or I'd rather say their responsibility to control the atmosphere of their home. And whatever's happening in that atmosphere, it's your responsibility. Whether you created that or not, men sow seeds, they sow vision, etc., and the woman produces that and gives it life. That's the concept in the Bible. You see it time and time again. But if I'm responsible for the atmosphere, then I need to be more than just the guy who goes to work and comes home and chills, right? Mm-hmm. I need to be involved in my child's life. I need to be involved in my wife's life. I need to be involved in supporting and making sure that everything is balanced across the board. So that requires my involvement.
Even when it comes to the atmosphere of the house, I think about what you said to me like a week ago, when you were sharing that you still want to make sure that I am pursuing my dreams. I'm doing what I want to do, and not just be like the mom, just taking care of the kids. Like, if you have goals and dreams, I never want you to lose those. And that is making sure that the atmosphere is open for me to do things and for me to grow. You're not just putting me in a box of like, well, you're a woman, you take care of the kids, you take care of the household,
right.
And that's what you do. You have no dreams, you have no goals. Like, who still thinks like that? Y'all still think like that?
In my vows that I read to her on our wedding day, that I said, I will never let my dreams overshadow yours. Yeah. And that's always been something that I've believed in, again, that it's not just the man who has vision and dreams. It's not just the man who has purpose.
Yeah.
It's the woman, too. It's not just her being a mother or a wife. There's more to a woman. And she is going to be a stay-at-home mom for a little while, but that's not going to stop her from pursuing things at home. Disclaimer that by no means am I saying, am I at that place? I'm not even technically a father. Yeah, I am.
You are. Don't let them take that away from you. We still have our baby in the oven right now. Cooking.
I haven't had the pleasure of actually taking care of the child yet. So in that regard, I'm still preparing for that. I haven't arrived. I haven't achieved it. But that's the mentality that I have, that I'm going into it with. She's moving.
Yeah. Tell us what you think about this topic. How do you feel about gender roles? How do you feel about fatherhood? It's hard to focus right now because she is moving for y'all. She is moving.
Where is she moving?
He was moving right here now.
Yeah, she's all over the place.
I know. Well, I feel a little bit right here, a little bit down here. But if you have...
Hold on.
Babe. If you haven't, like, comment, subscribe. We would love to hear your thoughts on this topic and give us advice. We always like to hear what you guys think about just parenthood, especially considering we haven't fully entered into it yet. But tell us what you think, and we will talk to you soon. We love you all. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. So I can still kind of lightly talk about what we're talking about. Yeah, and then, okay. I was like, if you haven't, like, I'm sorry. Okay.
Hey, welcome, subscribe. Bye.
Okay.